Who am I? Well, let's just say I'm your typical American kid. If typical means growing up insecure, stuttering through sentences, dodging a critical mom, and watching dad hide in the shadows. High school kicked me out 2 weeks early for leaving campus with my girlfriend. One of these girls is her. And the closest I got to college was throwing a touchdown pass to my buddy in the 5th grade. I was lucky to spend a lot of time with my grandparents. They were great. Learned to use my words to navigate life, just like Grandpa said. Make friends, make money. I experimented, took things apart. Guess I learned the old-fashioned way by just making mistakes. Hey! I've sold wine to grocery stores, driven heavy equipment, caddied on the PGA Tour, was in a band, even went to LA in my early 20s to give acting a shot. Pretty sure I can fly anything with wings. Worked in sales most of my life, got recruited to Wall Street, and one day I even rang the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. It's been a crazy ride. Married for 18 years, married for 18 months, divorced twice, and both of the women are in this picture. And I'll guarantee you, divorce during the Trump years was not fun. Lawfare sucks. But thank goodness I had a woman come to my rescue. And she's in this picture. Maybe it's just me, but I truly believe that humans can accomplish anything if they just try without the fear of failing. Most people stop before they even start. If you believe in leading by example, doing what's right by standing up for those who need the help, but most importantly, if you feel like you have the skills to spot a fraud, then this might be for you. This is a place where action speaks louder than words, where leadership isn't about titles or education. It's about showing up, execution, and understanding that no matter how experienced you are, you always have something to learn. Life's challenges only postpone your dreams. They don't erase them. Welcome to the Ackerman Alliance.
We don't need no education.
Welcome to the Ackerman Alliance Daily Show, your daily dose of things you need to know, and probably some things you don't. Boy, it sure seems like there's more stuff we don't want to know these days, doesn't there? I mean, it's crazy out there. I'm 50. I'm 50. Half a century old. And I don't feel 50. I don't. I feel like I can remember being 20. Like it was the same amount of years ago as I remember being 30. And my son, he'll be 20 here in a few months, getting ready to go to college. Got delayed a little bit. He got delayed a lot with COVID. But man, I just try to put myself, I'm very good at putting myself in other people's shoes, feeling what somebody else would feel. I think it's called empathy, where you can, if you hurt somebody's feelings, or if you're trying to determine how you've affected somebody or how you're going to affect somebody, you try to put yourself in their shoes and figure out, boy, that would suck. I don't want to do that. I'm going to choose not to do that because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want to make, anybody upset or feel less. I mean, we got more and more of that today. I mean, that's essentially how it's essentially how the entire federal government, I feel, has been hijacked, has been weaponized, turned around and flipped on our society for the purpose of creating a new one, creating a new environment for people to exist in that's based on somebody else's interpretation of what society should look like. And that is where we're at. And that's bad. That's bad. We have got to, I grew up in an era, high school, between 92, 91, 90, and 80. So 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 91, 92. So 86 to 92, those were arguably the best years I think you could have existed at that age. We had new music all the time. We had, it wasn't anything close to what it was today. And one of the things that I've been pondering so deeply these last 2 years for sure, but probably the last 4 to 6 years, I've just been pondering what was so different. What changed in the amount of time between, 85, 95, 2005, 2015, and 2025? Now, obviously, we have new generations of people scattered all throughout the bureaucratic establishment. We have new ages of people streaming and who grew up on the internet. And I mean, the sheer number of people that are streaming, live streaming, podcasting, content creating, whatever you want to call it, it's massive. And I think that's going to be good. I do. I think that we're obviously in a place where we have access to more information. And that access to more information is making, arguably, it's kind of making us I think it's making us a little less kind, a little less empathetic, a little less generous, maybe. And I hope to get a psychologist or someone. I mean, I'd love to get Jordan Peterson. I am way too small to get Jordan Peterson, but I'm offering to him, like a 2-hour sit down with me to go through my 30 years of growing up from, going from 20 to 50 or going from 10 to 40, and all of the experiences that I had, good and bad, the confrontations I had, the jobs I had, how I got them, and just get some sort of an idea of what it was. How did I escape? How did I escape the trauma cycle? That's what I want to figure out. Was it because I didn't spend any time with my parents? Was it because I went and just always had a new group to hang out with? I mean, I don't know. That's the part that's really stumping me. But I do know that what I have dealt with just in these past kind of 4 years, from 19 into 20, into COVID, the second marriage, the cancellation, the toxicity and the stuff I dealt with was really traumatizing to me. I mean, it was, people ended up not being who I thought they were. They ended up being something totally different, something completely and utterly different. So I'm going to talk about something tonight that is pretty serious, I think. Again, we're having a hard time getting through. Nobody's attending. I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to worry about that, because eventually, when I get to the point where one of these platforms is going to have to make things fair and balanced here soon, make this stream available, or maybe we'll just advertise it and broadcast it and put on a big live show event, do an actual show and get people coming, really make a splash with what we're doing here, because this is going to fly. This is not only going to fly, but this is hopefully going to help a lot of people break the cycle of trauma, break the trauma cycle, get out of your own head, take more risk, take more challenge, grow. We're not growing. We are not growing. I just don't see people making progress in getting through the difficult stuff. We just avoid it. We live in like a society full of avoidance. Nobody confronts the things that are difficult, that are hard to deal with, that are difficult to deal with internally. It's really troubling. It really is, because until we get back to a place where we have more connection, where we have more feelings for our neighbors and our friends, that it's not just about, putting on a show up front, and behind the scenes, it's just treachery. That it's going to bring our society down. It is. It's already collapsing our society. No new music, no new movies that are good. I mean, there used to be a Hollywood release. Remember the summer blockbuster release? You remember there'd be new bands. I mean, I can't tell you the last time I watched the Academy Awards, the Grammys, anything on television. It's like we have nothing really connecting us anymore. We have nothing to talk about. I mean, who wants to talk about politics anymore these days? I mean, my God, politics have become such a toxic wasteland. I mean, there's hope. There's hope that we are going to see a change and things might get better. But who knows? I mean, who really knows where this goes? This is getting pretty tough, and I just lost my camera.
Okay. Are we good? You got your seatbelt on? Seatbelt? Seatbelt!
Wow. Lost the camera there. Just boom. Decided to shut down on me. And there's still nobody here, so let's not worry about it. Let's turn this down to evening mode a little bit here. It's a little bright. A little bright, isn't it? It's got to be this bright during the day because of that big window behind me. Well, since there's nobody here right now, let's just let's do something a little different. No, let's not do that. No, let's not do that. What in the world? All right, let's try this. All right. Scene. Round. There we go. Oh my good Lord, that's a bad picture of Nancy, isn't it? Ooh. Hello, McFly. Hello, McFly. Boy, Nancy's not looking good. Holy smokes. Here, let's listen to what this says. What this lady has to say here.
President Trump want to know if you're working. I want to share some statistics and from a friend of mine who works at the Department of Veterans Affairs, and I want to be very sensitive because he shared some information that it was internal use only. And this is from the Department of Veterans Affairs building portfolio. All right, so 810 Vermont Avenue is a GSA-owned building, and a GSA-owned building means that it's a General Services Administration, and the Department of Veterans Affairs rent that each month. So 810 Vermont Avenue is a 618,000 square foot building. It has
618,000 square feet.
seats, meaning that's how many staff they can fit. And the monthly rent is $27.2 million, and that's a month. Their average logins from those staff, and they're pretty packed, my friend says, is 387 people average logging in every month. And that building is sitting at a 16% occupancy rate. So we're paying $27.2 million a month for that building with 16% occupancy rate. Now, there's 7 buildings that I'm going to share with you. 811 Vermont
$27
Avenue,
million.
another GSA-owned building, 266,000 square feet, 1,294 seats, $13 million a month rent, 124 average logins, a 10% occupancy rate. 18,000 G Street, it's a leased building. 207,000 square feet, 1,243 seats, $11.3 million a month rent, and the average logins of those staff is 146 per month, and an 11% occupancy rate. 1100 First Street, another leased building, 48,000 square feet, 190 seats, $2.4 million a month rent, 55 average logins, and that building has a 20% occupancy rate. 1575 I Street is a leased building. Now this building is in the process of lease termination, so that's nice. So the 37,000 square feet, 156 seats, $1.7 million a month rent, but that building is being terminated. 425 I Street is a leased building, 175,000 square feet, 582 seats, $12.7 million a month rent, 60 average logins, and 10% occupancy rate. 801 I Street is a leased building, 18,000 square feet, 86 seats, $1.1 million a month rent, and 8 average logins, and it's sitting at a 9% occupancy rate. So, yeah, I think that tells a story. I mean, tell me it doesn't tell a story. My friend says that they're pretty heavily staffed, and I know every time there's a job opening, he shares it, and it gets staffed pretty quickly. The government loves to staff at the max capacity if they can, and yeah. So share your thoughts if you want, or not. I don't care. But that's the Department of Veterans Affairs building portfolio. All right.
Oh bye. My God. How do you not consider that absolute and utter waste? Just waste. Flushed down the toilet. I mean, it's waste. $27 million a month for a building. Now, here's the question. Here's what I want to know. Who owns that building? Where's that $27 million a month in lease going to? What's it going to pay for? Is it paying for an army of activists? Is it paying for an army of people to do drugs? Like, is it a laundering operation? What the? Come on, people. Come on. Boy, I don't know why I must just be getting further and further down the rabbit hole of being silenced. Usually I've got about 4 or 5 people after 30 minutes. But no, not yet. Not yet. Not at all. 23 minutes. Had a couple people pop in and out, but I'm not going to let it frustrate me. In fact, if you're at home and you stream and you want to put your voice out there, this is the way I think about it. Well, look at it this way. When you go to Hulu or Netflix or something, right? There are seasons, there's shows, multiple seasons, multiple shows. You are putting up your shows. All these episodes that I'm recording right now. Yeah, nobody's watching them right now. They aren't. And who knows? Maybe they won't. Maybe I just suck. Maybe the message I'm bringing sucks. Maybe everything I'm talking about just sucks. But when it does catch on, when I do get to that point, you can go back and watch the reruns. You can watch the early days because they are going to get better. We're going to start getting a little bit more. We're going to start getting a little more involved. I'd like to set up a little studio where there's enough room and lighting and, maybe the living room that's used for the broadcast/podcast conversation. We double that and do some live sketch comedy or some live sketches. Do some off the map stuff, some new stuff. The more ideas people bring to the table, the more we're going to give it a try. That's what I always did as a kid.